Students, welcome to the second part of my video, that is Working of the Constitution, Part 2, Standard 10th. Now, as we all know, in the first part we have seen democracy. In that we have seen political maturity, right to vote, and decentralization of democracy. Then further, we have also seen the right to information. Then we also saw social justice and equality. Under social justice equality, we have the policy of the reservation of seats. Reservations for whom? Reservations for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. Then Prevention Atrocities Act related to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Provisions for minorities. These are all the subtopics which we have dealt in the first part. Now, my dear students, we are going to now see the laws relating to women. In the post-independence period, if you see, the concept of equality is coming, empowering women. Taking into consideration the problems of women, several policies are made both at the national as well as the international level. Like they have adopted policies so that they may remove illiteracy among women, make available opportunities for their development. Now, what are the other rights given to them? Right to have equal share of property of the father and husband. Dowry Prohibition Act. Act against harassment, Domestic Violence Prohibition Act. So these are the few of the acts which are passed so that it may create a favorable environment for the protection of freedom of women and ensuring their development. Now in our country, right from the beginning, we could see that women are not given their rights. It is believed, the perspective of the Indian perspective, because our Indian society is a male-dominated society, the woman is considered to be a second-class citizen. So, they are made to work in kitchen. They are given right only to look after their husband and their children. Political right is not given to them. So, in many countries in the world have made efforts to increase the participation of women. Now, women should come in the political affair. They should not be restricted inside the house or inside the kitchen, but they should be given political rights. They are already getting one right to vote. But not only that, to be a candidate and to be a leader. So the 73rd and the 74th Amendment of the Constitution, they said 33% of the seats should be reserved for women in the local self-governing body. And there was a big debate in the parliament. And what has happened? They said 33% is too less. It should increase. And so the percentage from 33, it has raised to 50. And I'm proud to say, along with few other states, there were few states who have raised from 33 to 50. So one of the state is Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, 50% of the seats are reserved for women in the local self-governing institution. Now please look at this chart. This chart shows, see, in 1951-52, when this election came into process, we could see the representation of women was 22, that is 4.50%. And as the year commenced, this was in 20th century. Now in 21st century, we see it has raised to 66%. Right from 4.50, it has been raised to 12.15. This shows the importance given to a woman in the political sphere. They are equal to men. So this is all about the laws related to women. Now there are a few questions that are maybe in your mind. Why Constitution has given equality? It's very simple. Right to equality is one of the rights given to both male and female. So that is the main reason why they are given equal right in the local self-governing body. Now we will see the last subtopic, that is the role of judiciary. Now when I speak of role of judiciary in India play an important role in strengthening democracy and helping towards achieving the objective of social justice and equality. While interpreting the provisions of the Constitution, judiciary has always taken into consideration the fundamental objective of the Constitution and the intention of the Constitution maker. Now this can be seen under the basic framework of the Constitution. As we all know, the Constitution is dynamic. It is a living document. And the Constitution changes according to the changing condition. And the Parliament has power to make those changes. Please note, we don't have a right to change. But it is the Parliament, both Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha. They have a right to change or to amend the law. The judiciary has accepted the power of the Parliament to make changes in the Constitution, but at the same time specified limitation on this power. The parliamentarians, they just can't just go and make a change like this. There are certain limitations. The judiciary has taken a stand that the Parliament, while amending the Constitution, they cannot alter the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, my dear students, we will see what are the basic structure. Basic structure, please look, monitor of mine. You can see the basic structure includes a republic and democratic form of government, federal structure of the Constitution, promotion of unity and integrity of the nation, sovereignty of the nation, secularism and supremacy of the Constitution. Now, my dear students, under judiciary, the second subtopic where I am going to deal is significant judicial decision. Now, the protection provided to the citizen by fundamental rights in the Constitution has to be made meaningful with various decisions by judiciary. Now, some of the important subjects on which the court has given judgment, that includes right to education, right to children, right to protection of human rights, protection of honor and dignity of women, individual freedom, tribal empowerment. All this effort made by the judiciary made the political process in India more matured. Now, my dear students, we need to know that democracy required good governance and the best governing practice. Following are the features of good governance. What should be done to bringing in good governance in democracy? One is accountability. When I say accountable and responsible government. Second, effective and efficient government. Responsive government. When I say responsive government, I mean to say respecting every individual in society, whether the person is belonging to the high caste or low caste, whether the person is superior or inferior, whether the person is rich or poor. Transparency in working of the government. Then people's participation in governing and decision-making process. These are few of the pointers for the good governance in democracy. Now, my dear students, let me conclude the lesson by saying that there are many challenges before Indian democracy. Government acts, policies have put an end to all the problems. There are several new problems confronting the government as well as us. However, what is important is the people have developed a democratic mindset. So, my dear students, this is all in the lesson. We'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.